Picture this. The earth splits open beneath your feet. Waves rise like mountains, crashing down with the fury of 1,000 storms. At the center of this chaos stands a god, trident in hand, eyes blazing with rage. This is Poseidon, the earth shaker, and his anger knows no bounds. In ancient Greece, the sea was everything. It connected civilizations, provided food, and inspired both wonder and terror. The Greeks understood that the ocean could be calm one moment and deadly the next. They needed a god who embodied this duality, and they found him in Poseidon, second son of the Titans, ruler of all waters, and perhaps the most temperamental deity on Mount Olympus. Poseidon's story begins not in glory, but in darkness. Born to the Titans, Cronus and Rhea, he never saw the light of day. His father, terrified by a prophecy that his children would overthrow him, swallowed each child whole the moment they were born. Poseidon spent his earliest existence trapped in his father's stomach, waiting in the dark alongside his siblings. But fate had other plans. His youngest brother Zeus escaped this terrible fate and grew strong in hiding. When Zeus returned, he tricked Cronus into drinking a special potion. One by one, Cronus vomited up his children. Poseidon emerged, fully grown and ready for vengeance. The war that followed lasted 10 brutal years. The Titanomachy pitted the young Olympians against the ancient Titans in a cosmic battle that shook the foundations of reality. During this war, the Cyclopes, grateful for their liberation, forged weapons of unimaginable power. To Zeus, they gave the thunderbolt, to Hades, the helm of darkness, and to Poseidon they crafted the trident, a three-pronged spear that could shatter mountains and summon earthquakes with a single strike. When victory finally came, the three brothers faced a new question. Who would rule what? They drew lots to divide creation itself. Zeus claimed the sky and became king of the gods. Hades received the underworld and its countless dead. Poseidon won the seas, all the oceans, rivers, and waters of the world. But here's the crucial detail. Poseidon never truly accepted Zeus as his superior. He considered himself equal, and this resentment would define their relationship forever. Poseidon's personality mirrors the sea he commands. Unpredictable, powerful, beautiful one moment, deadly the next. This volatility appears in every myth he touches, and nowhere is it more evident than in his contest for Athens. The city needed a patron god, and both Poseidon and Athena wanted the honor. The citizens asked each deity for a gift. Poseidon struck the Acropolis with his mighty trident, and water burst forth. But it was salt water, useless for drinking. Some versions say he created the first horse instead, a magnificent creature that symbolized his mastery over these noble animals. Athena, however, offered an olive tree, providing food, oil, and wood for generations. The citizens chose wisdom over raw power. They chose Athena. Poseidon's reaction was swift and terrible. He flooded the Thriasian plain, drowning crops and homes. This is who Poseidon was. Generous to those who honored him, catastrophic to those who didn't. This pattern repeats throughout mythology. When King Laomedon of Troy refused to pay Poseidon for building the city's legendary walls, the god sent a sea monster to ravage the coastline. His grudge against Troy lasted generations, and he sided with the Greeks during the Trojan War purely out of spite. But perhaps no story captures Poseidon's vengeful nature better than his treatment of Odysseus. The hero made one critical mistake. He blinded the Cyclops Polyphemus, who happened to be Poseidon's son. For this offense, Poseidon pursued Odysseus across the Mediterranean for 10 years. He summoned storms that destroyed ships, killed crews, and delayed the hero's homecoming. He only relented when the other gods intervened during his absence. Poseidon's legacy lives on through his children, and what a strange family it is. With his queen Amphitrite, he fathered Triton, the merman herald who controlled the waves with a conch shell. The hero Theseus claimed Poseidon as his divine father, drawing strength from this connection to defeat the Minotaur. Ironically, the Minotaur itself existed because of Poseidon's curse on King Minos. But not all of Poseidon's children were heroes. Polyphemus represented the brutal, lawless side of nature. Antaeus, the giant who drew strength from touching the earth, challenged travelers until Heracles lifted him off the ground to defeat him. Charybdis became a monstrous whirlpool that swallowed entire ships. These creatures reflected their father's chaotic essence. Poseidon's relationships with other gods were equally tumultuous. He once joined Hera and Athena in a rebellion against Zeus. They crept into Zeus's bedroom and bound him with 100 knots. But the sea nymph Thetis freed Zeus, and the king's punishment was severe. He forced Poseidon and Apollo to work as mortal slaves for a year, building the walls of Troy. His rivalry with Athena went beyond Athens. When Poseidon pursued Medusa in Athena's temple, the virgin goddess transformed Medusa into a monster. Yet Athena couldn't punish Poseidon directly. He was too powerful. When Perseus later killed Medusa, Pegasus sprang from her blood, a winged horse that symbolized Poseidon's dominion over these creatures. Poseidon challenged other gods for cities constantly. He lost Argos to Hera and dried up all the region's rivers in retaliation. He lost Corinth to Helios and Naxos to Dionysus. Each defeat fueled his resentment. When the Romans adopted Greek mythology, they renamed Poseidon as Neptune. But early Roman Neptune was merely a god of streams and irrigation. Only when Rome became a naval power did they merge him with the mighty Poseidon. The Romans emphasized his connection to horses even more, linking him to their beloved chariot races. Yet they created few original myths, simply retelling Greek stories. To understand Poseidon's power, we must examine the weapons that could challenge him. Zeus's thunderbolt represented pure divine judgment, its heat capable of evaporating water itself. Athena's aegis, adorned with Medusa's head, served as both shield and psychological weapon. Apollo's golden bow offered precision against Poseidon's brute force. Hermes carried the caduceus, which could calm even Poseidon's divine rage. The only weapon that truly frightened Poseidon was the harp, the adamantine sickle used by Cronus and later by Perseus. This blade could cut through divine flesh, potentially unmaking a god's very essence. So what does Poseidon teach us? His myths explore the danger of unchecked power and wounded pride. They show us that strength without wisdom leads to destruction. Poseidon had everything: immortality, dominion over the seas, incredible power. Yet he remained forever dissatisfied, forever second to Zeus, forever raging against perceived slights. His influence echoes through Western culture. We invoke his name when we speak of Neptune's kingdom beneath the waves. His trident appears in art, literature, and film. His temperament reminds us that nature, like this ancient god, demands respect. Poseidon's story is ultimately about power and its limits. He could shake the earth and command the seas, but he couldn't control his own emotions. He could father heroes and monsters, but he couldn't win the loyalty of Athens. He was equal to Zeus in strength, but not in wisdom or restraint. In the end, the Earthshaker teaches us that true power isn't about force. It's about knowing when to strike and when to show mercy, a lesson this volatile god never quite learned.